Southeastern Conference football, the birthplace of bowl teams and national championship contenders. College football at its finest, whose players have that special Southland pride. Above all, the SEC is spectator football. The fans love it. In 1973, for the second straight year, more than 3 million fans watched SEC football, and the total's expected to increase again in 1974. This is the conference that last season sent 6 teams to bowl games, after league members compiled a record of 36 victories and 3 ties in 45 games against outside competition. It's the conference that stormed the top 20 ratings all season and barely missed the national championship. I'm Bill Flemming, and this is the story of SEC football, the thrilling highlights of the 1973 season, and a look ahead at what to expect this fall. SEC football is brought to you by Kmart, America's leading discount department stores. And now let's meet the 10 teams of the SEC: the Alabama Crimson Tide, the Auburn Tigers, the Florida Gators, the Georgia Bulldogs, the Kentucky Wildcats, the LSU Tigers, the Ole Miss Rebels, the Mississippi State Bulldogs, the Tennessee Volunteers, and the Vanderbilt Commodores. Seniors left their mark on the SEC in 1973. They did it with plays like these. First, the case for the defense. This is defensive back Eddie Brown of Tennessee, breaking loose on a punt return of 78 yards for a touchdown. How's this for speed? And then, after surviving all those enemy charges, he's scuttled by his own teammate. Jim Rebels of Florida, another top-notch defensive back. And these defensive linemen won't be soon forgotten. Watch Benny Sibley, number 78 of Auburn. David Hitchcock, number 66 of Florida. And Jim McCollum, number 74 of Kentucky. Linebackers are key men in the defense, and here are 2 who really handled their assignments with top grades. Frank LeMaster, number 42 of Kentucky. He Runch. And 2-time All-American Warren Capone, number 55 of LSU. One of the truly great SEC seniors of 1973. The leading punter in the conference with a fantastic 48.7-yard average, Greg Gant of Alabama. And one of the outstanding senior linemen, Buddy Brown of Alabama, number 65, who could really clear the way because he was big and fast, and he readily adapted to Bear Bryant's wishbone with wings offense. This often was the result of his great blocking. The seniors could catch passes, too. Here are a couple of the best. Mississippi State's Bill Buckley, 2-time conference leader in receptions. Alabama's All-American Wayne Wheeler could really break up a game in a hurry. Look at the distance he has on the last defender. The graduated ball carriers long will be remembered. The group includes great runners like Tennessee's Haskell Standback, number 24. And Bill Rudder, number 36, for 3 years. A strong and dependable runner, hammering out nearly a 6-yard per carry average during his career. Georgia had quick and strong Jimmy Poulos, number 20. He was really tough to stop. Florida's Nat Moore, one of the greatest before injury slowed him up. And who could ever forget Alabama's big and fast Wilbur Jackson, number 80. Mississippi State had a powerful runner in Wayne Jones, number 32. This is what every coach tries to preach, the good old college try. As always, the quarterbacks could throw or run, as typified by seniors Andy Johnson of Georgia completing this pass. And Norris Weiss of Ole Miss, an academic All-American and the most valuable player in 2 postseason All-Star games, who could slip through the defense with the greatest of ease. And the SEC does have its sideline distractions, often called the prettiest rooters this side of heaven. And now let's hear from Kentucky's head coach, Fran Kersey, with some observations after his first season in the SEC.
Any team can really win the conference at any given year. I think that's the exciting part about our conference. But most importantly, we think we've had one of the better seasons that Kentucky's enjoyed in the last several years, and therefore we're excited about the upcoming next season.
Now the Kentucky-Alabama game. The underdog Kentuckians had this wild play just before the half to take a 14-0 lead. Jack Alvarez right there where he had to be for the TD. In the second half, however, the Crimson Tide came back to win, starting with this second half kickoff return by Willie Shelby. This is a rarity in football. You don't often see a flat 100-yard return. When Mississippi State smacked Vanderbilt, the biggest reason was fullback Wayne Jones, who ran through and around the Commodores. Tennessee sewed up its victory over Auburn, the first in 4 years for the Volunteers over the Tigers, with this pass interception by linebacker Hank Walter, who ran 38 yards for a touchdown. And it was raining cats and dogs, quiet of feet, on a wet day like this. A great scramble by quarterback Condredge Holloway and the touchdown pass that helped Tennessee put away Georgia Tech. One play like this a season would certainly be unusual. Condredge Holloway did it every game. Unquestionably, the slipperiest quarterback in SEC history. Alabama and Tennessee were tied 21-21 when Robin Carey broke open that game with this unexpected touchdown. He ran 64 yards for the TD, and the Tide was rolling. Auburn shook Jordan, one of the game's top strategists. And it certainly came to the fore when Auburn held potent and high-scoring Houston scoreless for the first time in 90 games and scored a lone touchdown to earn a stunning upset. The touchdown, this 7-yard run by freshman quarterback Chris Vaccarello. Louisiana State won a wild game from South Carolina, 33-29, in the last 2 minutes with the help of this slightly unbelievable pass play from Mike Miley to Ben Jones. Fired-up Kentucky team ripped previously undefeated Tulane, mainly on the running of Sonny Collins, who breaks away for 63 blazing yards. Florida then edged Kentucky by 2 points on the extra thrust of plays like this one, as quarterback Don Gaffney proves he's quite an escape artist, too. This sets up the score. Alabama won the SEC championship game with LSU, and a contributing factor was this perfectly executed keeper play by quarterback Gary Rutledge, good for a 19-yard touchdown. Then, just 6 minutes later, came this surprise pass to George Pugh, number 88. It resulted in a 49-yard touchdown, and the Crimson Tide had won its third straight SEC title. And now let's hear from Georgia's head coach, Vince Dooley, who comments on the SEC teams in 73 and 74.
We had another good year in the Southeastern Conference with a tremendous record against opponents outside of the conference. We'll have 2 or 3 great teams, and I'm confident 5 or 6 other teams that, if things go right, could all be contenders in the Southeastern Conference.
2 of the most glamorous bowl games included SEC teams. LSU, runner-up for the conference title, played undefeated Penn State in the Orange Bowl. The Tigers ran straight to a touchdown when Robert Dow took the opening kickoff back 46 yards to get things started. Brad Davis gained 39 yards in 5 carries. And Steve Rogers blasted the final 3 yards. But Penn State came back to record a 16-9 victory and stake a claim to the national title. But that national championship was decided in the Sugar Bowl, where Alabama, ranked number 1, and Notre Dame, ranked number 2, met on New Year's Eve before a record crowd of more than 81,000 fans and a massive television audience. It was a game to be forever ranked among the all-time great thrillers. The Crimson Tide took a 7-6 lead in the second period when Randy Billingsley scored from 6 yards out. Then in the fourth quarter, trailing 21-17, quarterback Richard Todd handing off to halfback Mike Struck, who in turn runs to his right, stops, and passes back to Todd for a 25-yard touchdown. But the Tide was doomed to tears as Notre Dame hit a field goal later and then held on for a 24-23 victory and the national title. In 1974, the SEC is loaded with returning stars and newcomers of outstanding potential. One of the teams that'll be contending strongly is Louisiana State. LSU's top tiger for the last 12 years, Coach Charlie McClendon, is going to give his offense a new look.
We're going to the split-back veer, and we've had a great spring. However, you know, we're practicing against ourselves in the spring, and we just got to wait until the fall to get all of our answers. However, we were pleased with the results. We've run the gauntlet. We've been satisfied with some of the things, and we know some of the plays not to run next fall.
LSU had a strong young team in 1973. The key players for 74 are mature, like quarterback Mike Miley, number 5, who accounted for 108 yards per game. Tailback Brad Davis, number 48. He rushed for 82 yards per game in 73. And helping Davis out of the backfield, Terry Robisky, number 16, just a freshman last year. Tight end Brad Boyd, number 89, should have his best year as a senior this fall. And Mike Williams ranks as one of the standout defensive backs in the nation. The youngest coach in the SEC is 28-year-old Steve Sloan of Vanderbilt, a former All-American quarterback at Alabama. His quarterback is Steve Fisher, number 12, who last year as a sophomore led the SEC in both passing yardage and total offense. Very impressive credentials. And here he connects with Doug Martin for a 70-yard touchdown. This is Paul Mathers, third-ranking pass receiver in the conference in 73 as a freshman. And this is Barry Burton, number 89, who caught more passes than any other tight end in the league. Defensive standouts returning for the Commodores are tackle Mickey Jacobs, number 75. And nose guard Tom Galbeers, number 54. At Mississippi State, Coach Bob Tyler has developed an explosive offense. and he has a fine quarterback in Rocky Felker. Rocky was the #2 quarterback in tandem offense yardage in '73 in the SEC. Walter Packer, #40, led the conference in return yardage last season as a freshman. Packer and another freshman of last season, Ray Kostick, #38, probably will be the starting running backs this fall. The defense led by two fine linebackers, Calvin Heimel, #33, and Tommy Gatlin, #54. At Ole Miss, the new head coach is former assistant Ken Cooper. Their defensive giant is Gentle Ben Williams, #74. He's anything but gentle when he's on the field. On offense, Barry Kramer, #21, runs from the tailback spot. And Paul Hofer, #36, from fullback. Now add to that the name of James Reed, #25, the fastest back ever to play at Ole Miss. He's not only fast, but he's rugged too. At Kentucky, there's a strong rejuvenation movement being guided by head coach Fran Kersey. He'll have back a fine passing combination featuring quarterback Mike Fanuzzi, #13. And good receivers like tight end Elmore Stevens, #86. But Kentucky's main weapon again will be tailback Alfred Sonny Collins, who last year led the SEC in both rushing yardage with more than 1,200 yards and in touchdowns with 13. He was the first sophomore to be named most valuable player in the league since Harry Gilmer of Alabama was named to that honor way back in 1945. No wonder the Wildcats are feared opponents this year. At Georgia, Coach Vince Dooley is looking for a new quarterback and more running backs. One strong runner returning is Glenn Harrison, #25. Richard Appleby, #84, is a fine receiver. And Keith Harris, #45, is a veteran linebacker and can defend against both the run and the pass. The Florida Gators, under head coach Doug Dickey, always come up with an exciting offense, and 1974 will be no exception. Quarterback Don Gaffney handles his job very well indeed, and he can keep the opposition guessing with his passing and running. One of his favorite targets will be Lee McGriff, #25, who led the conference last season with 703 yards and pass receptions. Another fine Gator weapon is James Richards, one of the fastest running backs in the league, if not in the entire nation. Wearing jersey #1 for the Gators is Wayne Fields, a safety man last season, here making a fine tackle, but being moved to a tailback spot this fall. The Gator defense is headed by linebacker Ralph Ortega. The War Eagle means Auburn, and head coach Ralph Shug Jordan is working with two quarterbacks who played as freshmen last season. Most likely to take over the top spot is Phil Gargis, #11, unloading a long touchdown pass. The top running back also was a freshman last season, #44, Cedric McIntyre. Leading the defense at linebacker is All-American candidate Ken Burnich, #53. Rusty Dean, another stout defender, crashing in from his end spot. And Mike Flynn, who wears #51, is also one of the SEC's better linebackers. Mike Fuller, #42, a defensive back last season, led the league in return yardage, and he gives the offense really a rather potent weapon when playing on defense. Under head coach Paul Bear Bryant has won 3 straight Southeastern Conference titles and is expected to contend strongly again for both the league and the national championships in '74. Returning are 2 top-notch quarterbacks. One is Gary Rutledge, number 11. And the other is Richard Todd, number 14. And there's also a host of fine running backs. Randy Billingsley, number 26, the most dependable for all-around duty. Number 33 is Calvin Gulliver, the swiftest and one of the most talented in the league. On defense, Mike Washington, number 34, heads a veteran secondary. And linebacker Woodrow Lowe, number 47, an All-American who patrols the entire premises, stopping runs and intercepting passes. And if Woody Lowe continues to play like this, he could become a 3-time All-America selection. Coach Bill Battle, a big winner for 4 years at Tennessee, is looking forward to another SEC dogfight.
As always, the SEC is very well balanced with 5 or 6 teams that could develop into bowl teams, could be national leaders. Our own football team is a relatively young team without an unusual number of seniors, and we are forced to play in 3 very hostile places early. We open our season with UCLA in Los Angeles, we play Auburn in Auburn, and we play LSU in Baton Rouge.
Tennessee's super weapon is super scrambler Condredge Holloway, a guarantee that fans on both sides will be excited. As we've seen earlier, he has that uncanny knack of pulling off the big play when seemingly trapped. Here he unloads a beauty of a pass to his top receiver, who's returning, Tommy West. And another fine receiver returning is John Yarbrough. Paul Carruthers, number 32, is the best of the volunteer running backs. On defense, the Vols have an outstanding young tackle in David Page, number 72. Another standout is the big veteran tackle, Robert Polium, number 70. Kicking specialist is Ricky Townsend, who made All-American twice as a barefooted kicker, and says he's going to try again this fall, but this time with a shoe on. The heart of the Tennessee team is Condredge Holloway, who tells what he finds is unique about the SEC.
Playing football in the SEC is an exciting task, not only because of the level of competition, but because of the great rivalries between the states and the teams. And that's really what I find most exciting, is the great rivalries and the fans and just everything involved with football.
There you have the SEC for 1974, ready again to take on the best teams in the country in intersectional competition, and ready again to wage the conference wars. Out of it all will no doubt come nationally ranked teams and surely a number of bowl bids, and just maybe the national champion. This is Bill Flemming, inviting you to become part of that contagious enthusiasm which only college football generates, and which is exemplified in the SEC.